I was a 7 day a work week. I worked 12 hours a day. I was in hotels. I was construction. I owned my own company. And you doing this project afforded me the opportunity to invest in you in the very beginning. And I believed in you and what you said and everything. And it was the best thing that I ever did. And forever, my family's life's changed. My kids. When you talk about generational wealth and everything, I'm it. And I just want everybody to know that you listen to this man and believe in him. And it can be possible for everybody because it's happened to me. And I just want to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart, because if you wouldn't have been doing what you're doing and standing up and taking all the crap from everybody, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in today, and that's retired.
That's awesome, man. That's truly touching, and I appreciate hearing stories like that because I would much rather listen to those stories than anything else. And because honestly, that's why we do this, right? Like, and I've said it a million times before, and people may or may not believe me, but like I could have retired a long time ago, but I don't need to. What am I going to do? I'm not. Matter of fact, I played golf a little while ago, a few days ago, and I realized that I'm really, really bad at it. So why would I retire? Because I'm not any good at things that normal retired people do. The only thing I know how to do is business, and I want to take care of people. Like I want to see people succeed. Like genuinely want other people to do well and better themselves and have some financial freedom and be able to do the things that they want to do. Right, spend more time with family, live a life that's a little bit more stress free. We're only here for so long on this planet, and I feel like a lot of times people kind of take that for granted. Right, we spend so much time trying to make a living that we forget to live. So it's an opportunity, and crypto is a great opportunity for people to take advantage of that. So I appreciate the sentiment for real because that's what we do it for, man. I try to take that that positivity and these stories and use it as motivation to keep working because we have for every one of your stories we get 15 more people that are trying to spread hate and dismay and trying to sabotage what we're doing for whatever reason because and and not for whatever reason. I know why people do that because genuinely people do not like to see other people succeed. That is the truth. A lot of people hate other people that succeed. They do not want other people to succeed genuinely. And I don't understand it. I don't understand the mentality. I've always wanted other people to succeed. I'm proud of people that do well. But that's not the case, man. A lot of times people just if they're not doing well, if they're not happy, it's not even about crypto or money. It's just in general. If you see somebody else that's happy and you're unhappy, you're envious, and you want to do whatever you can to sabotage that. Uh, you know, it's contagious and it's evil, and it's not how things should be. But unfortunately, it's the world that we live in, and it carries over into finances, and it carries over into crypto a lot too. When people see other coins and other projects being successful, they try to break it down and they try to do whatever they can to make them unsuccessful for whatever reason, and it's not helpful. It's harmful because you're not hurting me, right? You're not hurting the developers. You're hurting people that invest into the project and what they believe in. And I don't know what kind of people it takes to sleep at night and be okay with potentially affecting the livelihood of 350 plus thousand people. Like to me, that's just next level evil. But again, I'm old fashioned, I guess. But no, I appreciate it, man. I
So
appreciate the sentiment for real.
yeah, much appreciated. Yeah, thanks, Tim. Can I just bring up why I opened this room, Russ? You don't have to get into too much if you don't want, but there, man, we're just dealing with nonstop FUD. Like when one guy disappears, here comes another one. There's a guy with a literally failed crypto project, which is a textbook rug pull called Dump Busters. His name's Josh Olin. His chart, drove down to the pits of hell, and then he's trying to shill us his software, something along those lines. But
Mm,
what he's trying to imply is there's some funny business with the wallets, right? He's been nonstop, so
yeah.
we can't just let him control the narrative, right? And essentially what he had found is I don't know if you want to tell the story of the original dev. or any
Yeah,
detail. He
yeah. So this
basically
will,
is trying to
yeah, I
pin
know what
that
you're
on you
talking
guys.
about. I know what you're talking about. So this is what we'll do. We'll go through and talk about from the origin of Saitama to where this is not relevant, but we'll talk about it and so you guys know because yeah, I mean I saw something like that, but I usually don't pay attention. But for those that don't know or don't understand how we started, the Saitama token was it was never ours, right? It was developed by a gentleman that we know still, not personally, right? But we know the developer, the original developers. There was a couple of them, and they launched and then they renounced the contract like literally 2 days later. So myself, Max, them, we were like original investors, just like you guys. And we were like, okay, well, the contract's renounced. It's like, okay, now it's a genuine community token. It is up to the community if you want it to do well. It is up to the community if you want to let it die. That is the origin of any true community generated and ran, crypto coin. Right? It's a community driven project. Like it is up to the community if you want to do it. If you want it to succeed or not. So we collectively made a decision at that time to step up into the position of developers as just investors, meaning that our wallets are not or not deployer wallets. The only bags that we held or still do currently hold are tokens that we bought back at the end of May, the first part of June, and collectively along the way. So the deployer wallet in itself distributed tokens to the few people that were on his team, right? They had a guy that did marketing, they had a guy that was going to do tech and all this stuff, just like a normal token that's not renounced does now. They airdrop a certain amount of tokens. Their tokenomics were, I don't know what the original tokenomics were, but they probably held like, 2 quads or 1 quad. And the 4 developers said, okay, you get 200 trillion, you get 200 trillion, and it's all on Etherscan. You can look at that because they were, developers of the token. And then when they renounced the contract, they're still the deployer wallet of the token. They still hold it. But they actually, back then, there's a couple of them that were still in contact with them. And a few of them actually have donated tokens along the way for liquidity. They've, one of them actually burned like 300 trillion tokens, just sent it directly to the contract address. I don't know, maybe like in June or July, right? And just so everybody that was holding at that time could get the 2% reflection, because he was like, well, I hold like 500 trillion. Let me send 200 to the burn wallet. I don't need that much. So, anyways. Those are the deployer wallet, and we still are obviously in communication with them as a deployer wallet. But we ourselves are just normal. We're not the deployer wallet. Max doesn't have a deployer wallet. I don't have one. We don't have access to it. Nam doesn't have access. Nobody does. So the tokens that we hold in our own personal wallet is whatever we bought early on, just like you guys did, or we bought, throughout, by dips, just like everyone else. But we were never airdropped or given any tokens. The tokens I have in my wallet are ones that I swapped Ethereum for on Uniswap back in June, and then again in July, and so on and so forth. Even now, as we sit, April 1st, I still buy a token. If it dips down, if it's a good, price point, I have some Ethereum, I'll still buy some. That's what you do with money if you're an investor, right? You look at an opportunity and you buy it at a low price point. That's just simple money. So, yeah, I mean, people are always like, oh, well, this wallet sold this and this wallet sold that. It must be a developer. Well, I mean, it's all hearsay, right? I mean, people speculate. I can honestly say, and I don't never lie to you guys, that I am not even a top 50 holder at all. Never have been. I think I was a little bit, obviously early on. But it's never really been about the money. I don't need to sell my Saitama tokens to, get rich. I was pretty well off beforehand. But a majority of the tokens that I have now, we utilize for liquidity in SataMask. We utilize them for like creating partnerships, right? If we bring on, an influencer of sorts, or if we create a partnership with somebody and they're like, hey, can I get, in our contract, like, oh, we'll give you, X amount of Saitama tokens. That's where it comes from. It comes from our wallets, right? So we send it to them. And if we do need to sell some Saitama tokens to pay for something, of course we'll sell them on Uniswap, but very respectably. But it's not so we can cash them out and tell everybody to buy the dip. No, if we do need to swap some tokens, it's to pay for something, for marketing, for sub services, SataMask. Like we're trying to build a business, and it takes money to make money. It always does. We don't have a marketing wallet, so those funds got to come from somewhere. We inject a lot of money into the company. I think, without having any figures in front of me, I would easily say without a doubt in the last 6 months that the six of us have injected probably close to $5 million, or maybe closer to $10 million, into Saitama, the project as a whole, right? I mean, these things all cost money. The development of SataMask, we have engineers on payroll, our sub-services through SataMask. Like, we just increased our sub-services, I think it was like to 300x. It's $100,000 a month that we paid just for that service. That's an overhead expense that the Saitama LLC has to pay for. So, as we generate revenue through different streams, it's okay because it'll balance out. But right now, where is that revenue coming from? Like, we don't have it. I assure you, we're not making $100,000 through our merchandise shop. We sell a few NFTs here and there, but down the road, we'll obviously accumulate much more revenue, so our checks and balances kind of sort itself out, where our revenue is equalizing, if not maybe a little more, than what our actual expense and overhead costs are. But for the time being, we got to pay that. And there's only six of us. So, we utilize the funds that we have, whether it's USDT or money from our actual bank accounts, or I've gone to my bank plenty of times and actually wired money from my personal account to our business account to cover legal fees, to cover, subscription services, to cover whatever, or even, partnerships, as we generate, different partnerships and collaborations, with the Eagle Fight Club, with different people, we have to pay them too. Everything costs money. So yeah, I mean, if one of us needs to swap a couple of Ethereum to cover a cost, it's not because we're taking the money and taking advantage of people. No, we're putting that money into the company one way or another, right? We're not taking it to, go on an elaborate trip or something like that. I know that's the mentality a lot of people probably think, like, oh, you just want us to invest in Saitama so you can sell your tokens and take our money or something, right? Like, no, that's not the case, actually. If we do have to, and most of the time, trust me, we don't want to have to sell any, but, we've had to sell a few here and there, but very small amounts. And if we've had to, it's to pay for something inside SataMask to make the product better, to build the business out. Like, that is how you grow a company, is you have to inject funds into it. Otherwise, you just stay stagnant, right? We're trying to expand and build out and do all these elaborate things, but unfortunately, elaborate things do cost money. But anyhow, so that's kind of how that worked. And then, the Zoro thing, that's a joke, man. No, we didn't sell any of our code to anybody. We created that shit from scratch, and it is absolutely trademarked and patented. So, no, that's not accurate whatsoever. But, and I would hope that nobody would believe that crap, but you never know. I see crazy things in that all day.
Russ, I got to ask, where is this clown car that these guys keep piling out of, and how can I give it a flat tire?
Man, honestly, I have no idea. I see some of the craziest things sometimes. Yeah, and I know, and most people, I mean, you guys are all smart, man. Most people know that's like, okay, that's nonsense. But yeah, I mean, but it's all like education too. Like, if you see it and you're not a knowledgeable investor, or if you don't know enough, or you haven't been around long enough to know, like, you never know. I mean, they might believe it, right? So I guess it's kind of up to us to navigate around it. Like, no, that's not true. But we don't really give it, a lot of attention to most of it, because it's not worth giving us, our attention. And we certainly don't want to give folks a platform to, entertain that stuff. I just ignore it most time. If it's true, if it's worth my attention, it's something that's valid. 99% of the time, it's not even worth my attention, so I just ignore it. But I mean, So, but the firewall and all that stuff, I guess it's not ours. But those guys have actually contributed a lot along the way too. Helping out with listing exchanges, providing liquidity, like I said, a lot of stuff. So, because they're, like you guys are grateful too, because they deployed the project thinking it was just going to die out. And then we took it over and really blew the thing out of the water. So they're like, man, we couldn't have done that, right? The original deployer, they're like, hey, we wouldn't have been able to build that thing out the way you guys have done. This is incredible. And the community too, right? That's the true premise of a community-driven project, is having the community blow it out. So, and that's how it, gains success, because everybody is responsible, and they also get to reap the benefits of the success, because it's a true community-driven project.
Blockchainiac, you got a question?
Yeah, quick statement, Russ. I've been a thorn in your side, but if you don't know, I've also been an ally in some of the deepest FUD. They also mention you guys on the Zora website, so it's kind of like they're being kind of hugging a little bit. But my question to you, Russ, when the liquidity unlocks, does the original devs have control of that liquidity, and what will happen at that point? That's my only question, really.
Yeah, no, they do, but we know them. Like the deployer wallet, we're in constant communication with them. Have been since the very first day. So we're looking at a couple different things, and he's asked us like, what do you guys want to do? And we're actually this time around, I think we're going to introduce like a multi-sig wallet, either if we relock it, or if we want to migrate some of that LP to Saita Mask, or whatever we want to do with it. We're going to do it preemptively, like way ahead of time. We're not going to wait until I think it's like around the mid-May for it to unlock. We'll at least probably do it a few weeks early. But yeah, we haven't really decided there. But no, we talk to them all the time. So there's definitely a communication there. And like I said, they've been helping us do with a lot of stuff, because they have Saitama tokens too. So if our well is running dry, we can go to them and say, hey, we need some Saitama tokens for liquidity or whatever we need it for. They've always been there and been extremely helpful. So but yeah, this time around we might do a little like a multi-sig or something like that, just a little added peace of mind. But no, we'll whatever we're going to do, we'll do it way ahead of time. We're not going to wait till like the day before. That's just cutting it too close. I'm thinking at least a week or two, because you can relock it at any time. If we don't want to do anything with it, we'll just go ahead and relock it for another 6 months.
Wow, I pitched something to Faltron. He'll probably shoot it to you later on, so it's kind of a good idea.
Yeah, and Max has got a lot of ideas of stuff that he wants to do, and as you guys know, we're trying to create our own blockchain down the road. It's not going to happen between now and May, obviously, but and that'll dictate how long we relock it for too. If we're thinking, hey, it's 6 months out, do it for 6 months. If we think it's going to take a little longer than that, maybe we'll lock it for 8 months. You can go in there and lock the liquidity for X amount of time, whenever you want to. You just can't unlock it early. But we could go in there right now and be like, hey, go into Unicrypt and adjust it and set the settings and relock it for an additional 6 months or 60 years if we wanted to. So, anyways, we got a bunch of stuff going on right now. I just wanted to come in here and kind of shoot the shit a little bit and give you guys kind of a heads up. The state of Realty swap is we've been monitoring it. It looks really good. There's a lot of traffic. Obviously, there's a lot of volume, which is expected. But our servers and our sub services are working the way that they should. It got bottlenecked for a second, and then they expand, and our services expand. It's not immediate, like the snap of a finger. But it takes a few seconds, and then it kind of clones the server and expands. And then when we need more usage, it continues to expand. So it did exactly what it should. So there hasn't been any arbitrage push to the routers, any of that stuff. So it all looks good. Everything. They're going to continue to monitor it. Obviously, we have people monitoring it nonstop. But yeah, everything looks good. So we put the liquidity in last night, and then let it go live this afternoon, and everything was tested and functioning, and everything so far so good.
Hey, real quick, Russ, I guess I don't know if this has been addressed, but there's a price discrepancy between Gate.io and Uniswap. Did that ever get rectified? Do you know about that?
Between Saitama and Gate.io, like there was a difference between.
Yeah, I think somebody was using.
That's arbitrage, man. That happens on every centralized exchange. They create their own price point based on their transactions, buy, sell, wall. So, for example, if Saitama is trading at the 2, and Uniswap is 1.8. People will obviously sell on Gate.io, buy on Uniswap, and that's what arbitrage is. So it goes back and forth until it balances out. And the more exchanges that you have, it goes on there and it shows different things all the time. So it's constant arbitrage all the time. It's not a discrepancy, so to speak. It's just based on their buy sell volume and what they're currently trading at. It'll be different, and as we add more exchanges, there will be more and more arbitrage to this point where each exchange is trading at a different price point. But it works both ways too, though. If it's cheaper on Uniswap and it's more expensive somewhere else, people will buy on Uniswap and then go sell it on a centralized exchange. So it's not just the one way. I know it kind of seems like that sometimes because that's when you notice it. Nobody ever really pays attention to buys; they just pay attention to sells, especially when they're large. But it does work both ways.
Damon, go ahead.
Hey Russ, how's it going, man? Big fan, big fan. Appreciate
Yeah,
all your work, man. Been here since the beginning as well. So my question is, a lot of the projects that are out now, it seems as if they're deploying in a way that they're accusing Saitama of. So what you just explained and how we actually originated, can we put that on the website? Because there's a lot of new holders that come in, and that information I think is very important. They don't see that, and so that's what gives these guys open chance to FUD. So I think if maybe put a blurb up there, maybe have HDN do it or something, just like an origin story, if you will. I
yeah,
think
yeah. I think that
prove
would
that.
be good, and kind of explain a little bit that the contract's renounced and we took over. I know we've talked about it several times, but yeah, maybe having something a little bit more official on there, like a backstory of how Saitama originated and how get into a little of the tech side about how we aren't didn't deploy it, but we are originally part of the community that just kind of took it over a little bit. Yeah, it might be something to kind of clear it out a little bit. And honestly, I think it's yeah, I mean it's great. Like that was common back then. That was very very common. When tokens launched back then, there was somebody would launch the token and instead of trying to run it up or do something kind of shaky and shady and have all these weird transactions and have all these crazy taxes, they would just renounce it and give it to the community and say, okay, we don't have the time, or this didn't really go out the way that we thought it wasn't. It's not doing as well as we thought. We realize it's much more difficult to run a token as a developer than we initially anticipated. So instead of us pulling our hair out about it, let's just hand it over to the community and renounce our contract, and then you guys can ultimately be responsible for its success or its failure. And that is how it was done back then. Now, not so much, right? But it's difficult to do. But when people run into roadblocks and they realize quickly how difficult it is to develop a token and be and lead a project, they just kind of step back or they do something kind of shady. And then you start getting people starting to point fingers and starting to dive into Etherscan and ask questions. And trust me, it takes a lot. It takes some big shoulders to handle those types of questions and that kind of scrutiny. And it's not for everybody, right? So at that point, people usually would renounce their contract and be like, you know what, I'm putting my hands up. You guys obviously know what you're doing. Let's give it to the community. You guys run with it. And hey, if it takes off, great. Pat yourself on the back. But if it doesn't, it's no longer our fault. You can't point the fingers at us and say, hey, this token's crap. It didn't go anywhere. You guys aren't delivering on things. Like contracts renounced. Like it's up to you guys. Do what you want to do with it. So, but that was very common. That's how things used to happen. Like in DeFi, when DeFi first came out, that was pretty much the norm. Like a lot of times, people wouldn't even invest into coins that until they renounced their project, because it just offers. There's just too many things that can go on, man. And I know it's kind of catch-22, because when you renounce your contract, it eliminates the opportunity to do certain things. But it also gives you more of an opportunity to do things that you shouldn't be doing. So I hear both sides, but back then it was very, very uncommon to not have a contract that wasn't renounced. It seems to be less than. Anyway, I gotta get going here. We got we're monitoring the state of realty. We got trying to get some centralized exchanges locked in too. So I'm kind of going back and forth with these things, trying to get those out for you guys. We'll have some more information for you guys pretty soon on that. It just depends on launch dates and everything else. We're also looking at the Lucky Roo token we're getting out, and we do have a couple of more pairings that we're adding also. So we'll have some announcements on that, and we're coordinating with their marketing team. We want to handle things a little different, and actually market it and build up some hype and do stuff like that. So as I said, we're in as we go, trying to fine tune this machine.
Real quick, Russ, before you go, when can we transfer? Because I created a wallet in Saita Mask. I didn't import the seed phrase. Are you guys working on a way to send the tokens out?
Yeah. So you're talking about like so well, what do you mean? You should be able to comes out now
Well, my
on whatever
tokens
wallet
can
you
go
got in
in,
there.
but they can't. Well, I just created a wallet inside of Mask, but I can't send it back to my Coinbase wallet. There's not a way to go out.
Okay. Yeah. Let me ask Max. I'm sure. I think I remember him talking about that a little bit on the AMA the other
I
day.
brought it up
Talking
to
about doing
Manny,
some.
so yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I know they're trying to do a couple different things also. But yeah, I'll ask him. I'll let you guys know. I think he was talking about it a little bit on either was at our meeting this morning or on the AMA the other day. I can't remember. Too many calls all day, but I'll ask him and I'll get back with you. I'll let you know. So awesome. So you guys
All right.
keep on keeping on, man. I'm gonna hop out, but y'all are obviously welcome to do your
Hey,
thing.
Russ, remember this guy, the Shib Lord? You ever heard of this guy? The
Yeah, man.
Shib Lord?
Shit, boys.
He's a shy guy.
He's the UK Eminem, man.
Come on, bro. You know it. A long time. I'm a bit disappointed that you didn't follow back my new account because my other one got blocked. But you know, it
Oh,
is
I
where.
got you, man. I didn't know that you had a different one. What happened to your old one?
But as you can see, me and Foucho made up as well, so we're all friends again now. So it's all good. It's all love.
Well, good, man. Good, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, they've been around. Well, OGs, man. They got some OGs in the room. Shit, boys have been around for a long time, man. Since the beginning. Shit was out here shilling Saitama when we only had like 1,000 holders, man.
Come on, it's all love. Still
All
here,
love.
still at
That's
it.
it. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. All right. Well, y'all have a good evening, man. We'll give you guys some updates and stuff. I just want to pop in and address a couple of those things. So y'all keep doing what you're doing, man. We'll talk soon. We actually had that little soiree happening this evening. So we got Michael Thompson and Terry and Jonathan Torres down in LA right now. I'm not there. I know I saw a bunch of people post like, "Oh, you're taking our money to go party in Hollywood." Like, no, I'm at home. I'm in Texas, so I'm still working. I'm in my office, still working. I know, right? No, but so just to kind of, since we're on the subject, like that, it was a cheap opportunity for us to get some great marketing tools out. We have like a step and repeat banner. We got all kinds of promo stuff, some swag that we're handing out at the party. Stuff like that. So there's a lot of, A-list celebrities, things are there that are going to be doing IG stories with our step and repeat banner in the background. That's called effective marketing. It's very, very cheap, right? I mean, it doesn't cost a lot of money to do stuff like that, but it's about branding, right? And getting our name. If we want to make Saitama a household name and a brand that people recognize and understand and see, you got to have repetitive things. So when people see our logo there, boom, you're at this party, you see it in an IG story, it's imprinted into your mind, and then when you see it somewhere else, you're like, man, this is like the third time I've seen this Saitama logo somewhere, and then you're that much more inclined to check it out. And that's how we're trying to create a household name in Saitama, not just based in the crypto community, but as we grow and expand to bring in new money. And that's how you do it. You don't continue to market on the same platform over and over and over again. You want to branch it out so people see it. People that are not on, your typical crypto circles, people that are in different circles, people that are in, that aren't even into investing. Because as crypto as a whole grows, that's how we do it. We want to capture that audience too. So anyways, so they got that going on tonight. I'm sure you guys will see plenty of pictures floating around on Instagram and Twitter and all that stuff. So these guys are repping us out there and killing it, of course. So looking forward to that. And we'll give you guys some updates. We got some, like I said, we got some exchanges and things we're working on, and we'll roll that out to you guys soon. We got to be strategic about it, get that momentum rolling in the right direction, and just keep piling it on. So y'all keep it up, man, and we'll talk later. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you for addressing that, by the way.
Yeah, appreciate it. See you guys.
So
Hold on, 10
everybody
more
except
questions.
Bobo.
Hold on, we can just a few more. Oh shit, he's gone. Damn.